Dear learners, I am Dr. Shubhangi Vaidya from the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies. In the previous lecture, we discussed human needs by referring to the formulation of Abraham Maslow regarding the hierarchy of needs. While this theory did gain a lot of popularity, it also raised a lot of questions and criticisms. In this lecture, we are going to talk about another very influential theory which addresses the issues of human needs and the satisfiers of these needs in a much more complex way. This perspective on human needs was evolved by Manfred Max Neef, a Chilean-German ecological economist, and his team. His most important books are From the Outside Looking In, Experiences in Barefoot Economics, and Human Scale Development, originally published by the Dag Hammarskjöld Foundation. Both books seek to provide a more nuanced understanding of the logic of economics by bringing in the issues and the ethics of well-being. Max Neef worked for several UN agencies, and in 1983, he received the Right Livelihood Award, which is also regarded as the Alternative Nobel Prize. Max Neef's approach is known as the Human Scale Development approach. It lays a very strong emphasis on the role of human creativity in development and argues that the purpose of the economy is to serve the people and not the people to serve the economy. This is a very crucial point that must be emphasized. It is based on the satisfaction of fundamental human needs, growing levels of self-reliance, construction of organic articulations of people with nature and technology, of global processes with local activity, of the personal with the social, of plan with autonomy, and of civil society with the state. In other words, this approach emphasizes the synergy and mutual interdependence between individuals and their needs, the social structures and systems within which human beings live, the systems of governance, technology, and the dependence of humans on the natural world, civil society, and the state. The human scale development approach rests on three important postulates. Development is about people and not objects. Number two, fundamental human needs are finite, few, and classifiable. And three, fundamental human needs are the same in all cultures and in all historical periods. What changes, both over time and through cultures, is the way or the means by which needs are satisfied. In other words, as different historical circumstances change, as culture changes, as new ways of doing things and new technological innovations take place, we find different ways of satisfying the same needs. Look at education, for example. While the face-to-face classroom has become difficult in COVID times, we find that the need for education can be satisfied through different modalities of education, such as open and distance learning, online education, and so on. While Maslow's hierarchy of needs is based on a psychological perspective, which foregrounds the individual and his or her physiological and psychological needs, the human scale development contextualizes human needs from a social perspective. It points out that needs are finite and same for all cultures. What distinguishes the culture is the manner in which the needs are satisfied. Thus, the satisfier for the same need may vary from culture to culture. The human scale development approach classifies needs according to existential and axiological categories. Existential categories are based on the experiences relating to the needs. Axiological categories are based on the value assigned by an individual or society to different needs. The needs have been broadly divided into 9 axiological categories. These are subsistence, protection, affection, understanding, participation, idleness or leisure, creation, identity, and freedom. The existential categories are being, having, doing, and interacting. Being refers to personal or collective qualities or attributes. Having deals with the various things that are needed. This includes norms, institutions, mechanisms, laws, etc. Doing is related to personal or collective action. Interaction is the setting or the context. Let us understand this more concretely by looking at the chart. So, let's begin with the first fundamental human need of subsistence. Looking at it from the perspective of being, we can talk of physical and mental health. Having food, shelter, work. Doing to feed, clothe, rest, and work. And interacting would include living, environment, and social setting. Protection includes care, adaptability, autonomy. Social security, health systems, work. Cooperation, plan, take care of, help. Social environment, dwelling. Affection, respect, sense of humor, generosity. Friendships, family, relationships. Share, take care of. Privacy, intimate spaces. Understanding, critical capacity, curiosity, intuition. Literature, teachers, policies, education. Analyze, study, meditate, investigate. Schools, families, universities, communities. Participation, receptiveness, dedication, sense of humor. Responsibilities, duties, work, rights. Cooperate, dissent, express opinions. Associations, parties, churches, neighborhoods. Leisure, imagination, tranquility, spontaneity. Games, parties, peace of mind. Daydream, remember, relax, have fun. Landscapes, intimate spaces, places to be alone. Creation, imagination, boldness, inventiveness, curiosity, abilities, skills, work, techniques, invent, build, design, work, compose, interpret, spaces for expression, workshops, audiences. Identity, sense of belonging, self-esteem, consistency. Language, religions, work, customs, values, norms. Get to know oneself, grow, commit oneself. Places one belongs to, everyday settings. Freedom, autonomy, passion, self-esteem, open-mindedness, equal rights, dissent, choose, run risks, develop awareness, anywhere. The matrix of satisfiers that we have just highlighted above shows various types of satisfiers which are used to fulfill different categories of needs. Let's talk now about human needs in the context of human ecology. What is human ecology? It is the study of relationships between humans and nature, connected in a web of interactions. As different communities, cultures, and societies develop, they evolve distinctive sets of norms, values, and goals in relation to nature, so that adaptations, collaborations, and conflicts among those human individuals and groups also contribute to the web of interactions that impact upon the environment. Human ecology describes not only the influence of humans on their environment, but also the influence of environment on human society and its adaptive strategies. In order to fulfill the different types of needs, humans have to use their labor upon nature and attempt to change it. In the process of acting upon nature and environment, the humans get involved in the interaction process with other human beings, and gradually a complex society is evolved. Karl Marx's views on the material basis of human society are well known. In the Marxist perspective, the economic process is the infrastructure, and the other subsystems, such as culture, religion, etc., form the superstructure. Thus, humans engage themselves in social production. There are two fundamental processes which characterize the ecology of human social systems. Firstly, humans appropriate material from the environment, and then they alter and circulate these materials through social relations. They accord such materials with value, which has an impact on the way these materials are appropriated, altered, and circulated. For instance, the food that is consumed in a high-value hotel, such as a 5-star hotel, does not merely fulfill a subsistence or basic need alone. It also fulfills the needs of identity, participation, status, etc. In this case, the value of the food is socially and culturally constructed, which in turn meets certain higher levels of needs. Economists talk about the Veblen effect after the famous sociologist Thorstein Veblen, in which for certain commodities, demand increases when the price increases. The increase in demand is due to the social status or exclusiveness of the product. Food in exclusive hotels, high-value cars, clothes, jewelry, etc. belong to this category. In contrast, the proportion of income spent on food is always high among poorer households. This expenditure is mainly for calories and subsistence needs. The proportion spent on food is called as the Engel coefficient. This index is used worldwide to indicate the standard of living. When a country or region has an Engel coefficient of 40% or lower, it is considered rich. This indicates that as and when the economic conditions improve, the proportion of income spent on subsistence decreases and the proportion of income spent on satisfiers to meet other needs increases. Such behavior of the society in appropriating the environment to meet the different types of needs have strong ecological consequences, as we have witnessed over the past several years. Let's talk about another very important concept briefly, the concept of sustainability hierarchy. The primary theme of sustainability is not just about securing the needs for survival in the present generation, but also the future generations. Julian D. Marshall and Michael W. Toffel in 2005 developed a sustainability hierarchy. The 4 levels of the sustainability hierarchy are: Level 1, actions that if continued at the current or forecasted level, endanger the survival of humans. Level 2, actions that significantly reduce life expectancy or other basic health indicators. Level 3, actions that may cause species extinction or that violate human rights. And number 4, level 4, actions that reduce the quality of life or are inconsistent with other values, beliefs, or aesthetic preferences. This sustainability hierarchy is analogous to the hierarchy of needs that was developed by Maslow, which establishes that humans are motivated by unsatisfied needs and that certain lower needs must first be satisfied before higher needs can be. In the sustainability hierarchy, basic environmental sustainability forms the foundation or level 1, and successive levels refer to increasingly higher order sustainability needs that incorporate health, quality of life, and value-laden concerns. This provides for characterizing an action as sustainable or unsustainable. In the concluding part, let us talk about the issues of equity, basic needs, and ecology. Poverty and deprivation are the result of unequal and unjust distribution of wealth and resources. Not all the individuals have the same level or right of access to the resources of which food, fresh and clean drinking water, and shelter are the most essential needs for survival. What this simply means is that the poor have little or no access with equal rights for basic human needs. That inequity does not enable sustainable development is evident from the fact that the wealth of a nation does not correspond to the number of people suffering from hunger. In other words, equity is very much essential for achieving sustainable development rather than just equality. There is a subtle difference between equity and equality. Equity refers to the qualities of justice, fairness, and impartiality, whereas equity refers to the exact division or equal sharing. Basic needs of subsistence are major issues for a substantial proportion of the Indian population. Inequity is also reflected in the circumstances of various marginalized sections of the population and also from a gender perspective. We see that women and girls experience a fundamental structural discrimination that interferes with their access to food, healthcare, education, etc. India's population is expected to be around 1.4 to 1.5 billion in 2020. India would need to produce 270 to 280 million tons of cereal grains from the present production level per annum. This is indeed a major challenge, since land for cultivation is a rapidly shrinking resource, as also fresh water for irrigation. In addition, global warming related climate change is also emerging as a major threat to crop productivity. Diversion of forest land for agriculture is not a sustainable solution, since it would cause a great deal of erosion of biodiversity and diminish ecosystems to humankind. For these reasons, which threaten our very survival, all developmental plans should and must focus on sustainable agriculture. To conclude, we see that human needs are at the very foundation of social, economic, cultural, and political processes. With technological advancement, the uncontrolled exploitation of nature has resulted in unsustainable strategies and pathways to development, with resultant disastrous impacts on the environment and the ecosystem. Sustainable development requires that we take a close look at human needs and their ecological dimensions. The theories of Maslow and Max Neef that we have discussed in these two lectures will hopefully enable you to understand the significance of human needs in the discourse of sustainability in a better manner. Thank you.